please welcome President and CEO of ITS America, Ms. Laura Chase.
Well, it's finally the last day of a great week in Los Angeles. I hope you all got a chance to enjoy the beautiful weather here, hence our sunglasses. But really, truly, what an amazing week it has been. We are so pleased to have had about 6,500 participants this week from 64 countries in over 180 sessions. We have learned about and experienced demonstrations of technologies that are on the roads today, saving lives, making transportation more sustainable, improving mobility, and creating access to communities. But they're not everywhere, and that's our goal. Our goal is to scale deployment so that every community can actually benefit from these technologies. And we're all together in person again, which for me is a real treat, and I know for many of you as well. Networking and coming up with great ideas, feeding off each other, creating new partnerships. This is why I love both what I do and I love these events like the ITS World Congress. In my remarks at the opening, I talked about the fact that all of us in this room are early adopters of this technology. We are all ready to go. But as we've seen, some of our partners, some of people who should be our partners, aren't here. They're not in these conversations. We need to bring them in. And so I hope during this week, as you've walked around, as you've talked to people, as you've had discussions, I hope you're realizing who are those folks that we need to bring in the conversation. And they might be within the industry. They might be companies. They might be public sector agencies. But they might be communities and people. And those communities and people are the ones who really need to understand the life-saving technology, the benefits of what we're talking about. They need to want this technology in their own community. They need to understand what it means for them. I've said this before. I'm a mother of 3. I know that I want my kids to be able to safely bike to school. Right now, they cannot. They had to stop biking because it's not safe. The route is not safe. We've had multiple fatalities in my own neighborhood, including a teen cyclist just this spring. As a mother, I know I want my kids to have their safe route to school. If I wasn't in this industry, what I wouldn't know is that all the technologies that we talked about, so many of the solutions on the floor today, so many of the innovative things that our public agencies are deploying and our private sector is developing can achieve that, can save those lives. And that's a story we need to tell. We need to make sure that everybody understands how this benefits them. So I ask you all to, when you go home, I ask you all to keep thinking about this and bring new voices into this conversation to help us. And finally, I just want to say thank you. I know many of you might have traveled an ocean. Some of you might have traveled a few states. Some of you might have just traveled on a highway, maybe taken a scooter, maybe taken a ride share. Whether you've come from near or far, I want to thank you for taking the time. I want to thank you for spending the week with us. And I want to thank you for your contributions, for your ideas, for your collaboration, for your partnership. We need all of us to be developing and deploying these technologies to transform transportation. We all need to be working together. If you were at this morning's plenary, you heard them talking about the technology is becoming more and more complex. And that means we need more and more partnerships, both on the private sector side and also on the public sector side. We need to make it easier to integrate these technologies into our system. We need real solutions that are one-stop shop, and we can do that. And I think a lot of that work, a lot of that networking, a lot of those partnerships were happening this week. So thank you again for all of your support. Thank you for your contributions and your attendance. Together, we will be able to realize our vision of a future that is safer, greener, and smarter for all. Thank you. And now, I'm not sure who's next. So, okay, sorry. Please welcome Eric Sampson, Chief Rapporteur.
Now, I estimate we've had over 400 hours of discussion, demonstration, education. Can I summarize that for you in 15 minutes? No. But I can sketch a picture of what happened in the sessions, the demos, the visits, and the exhibition under each of the 7 main topics of the Congress. And I can only do that because of the fabulous work of my team of rapporteurs. They are my eyes and ears. You'll see their names in the full post-Congress report that we aim to issue in 6 or 7 weeks' time. Topic 1, digital infrastructure, a key enabling technology overlapping with the other topics. The prominent themes were using data and digital infrastructure to improve management of transport systems, advanced wireless standards, improvements from infrastructure for travel safety, traffic flow, and operations. Many sessions looked at how to do it, especially managing and using data and cybersecurity implications. Areas continuing from earlier congresses included application of digital twins and standardization. New ideas included building cyber resilience into the digital network, exporting improvements from highways networks to roadwork zones, interaction of automated vehicles with level crossings, and the safety benefits for connected vehicles through V2X technologies. An organizational barrier to the more efficient installation and use of infrastructure was regularly identified. A lack of coordination when planning data sharing and processing, as departments are often not familiar with the data they hold and its potential. We did not see much consideration on integrating transport's infrastructure with other infrastructure deployed more broadly in the built environment. Together, they support the seamless, informed movement of people and goods and enable holistic transformation by transportation. Topic 2, equitable and seamless mobility, covered 4 major areas: integrated mobility and standards, equity, diversity, accessibility, and inclusion with a strong focus on gender challenges, improving safety and security, and reducing emissions and congestion. Sessions reported improvements in all the areas, but there were some puzzling gaps. This Congress was, I think, the first since 2015 where mobility as a service was not a very dominant topic. Electric mobility was less popular than expected, particularly given the media's interest. And the impact of ITS on the environment featured in very few sessions as a headline item. In contrast, we saw many new ideas: using artificial intelligence to schedule electric vehicle charging, predicting the numbers of empty seats on buses from 5G payment data, a super app supporting modal shift from trips by car to intermodal travel, and a mobility wallet for travelers with credits that could be spent for paying for road use fees or to finance trips with alternative modes. And for disadvantaged users, the wallet can be partially or wholly subsidized. This and earlier congresses have had sessions addressing equity, inclusion, accessibility, and diversity. But there's a limited number of tools to measure these factors and test whether we are properly addressing them. And they are not well known and they are not well used. Topic 3 was intelligent, connected, automated transportation. As with earlier congresses, this was by far the most popular, accounting for about 40% of all activities. 3 areas featured prominently: improving safety, especially at intersections, development of rural services, and collaborations. On this last point, there were showcases of joint ventures between countries and regions, collaborations between sectors such as industry and government, and especially in topics such as testing and deploying connected vehicle technologies. Collaboration between government departments was presented, and we also saw cases of commercial competitors in partnerships, especially in areas such as V2X. There were some slightly neglected topics. Transport accounts for 29% of greenhouse gas emissions in the US, but we had relatively little on how deployment of connected or automated vehicles might enable reduction. We had less than in previous years on regulatory and licensing issues. Perhaps that's all been sorted. I have my doubts. By contrast, new topics included truck automation, where there have been major advances recently in the real-world testing. There are still challenges with regard to incorporating the first and last mile and yard or terminal movements, but collaborations again seemed plentiful. These problems seem to be on the way to resolution. Bus automation also attracted much attention and is wanted not just by cities, but rural areas as well. Post-COVID automation was a new topic, didn't exist a few years ago, but the almost universal drop in public transport use after COVID has prompted a question. How will this trend impact automated travel, which is predominantly a shared experience? Failure is an integral part of innovation, but it's expensive and it's difficult to acknowledge publicly. Nevertheless, live testing was a common discussion point. Some studies were using live components in real-world situations, either on test tracks or by deploying technology at public intersections. Others examined technologies in virtual settings. A hot topic for the next Congress is likely to be, how can we enable more cooperative testing and allow multiple participants to examine their technologies with interaction between live and virtual components? Topic 4, organising for policy and governance. An intriguing mix of new approaches to familiar problems and devising ways to understand the new problems. Many disruptive technologies have almost become mainstream, thereby creating challenges for the sector professionals. This emphasises how all stakeholders need to understand how technologies critical to transformation of transportation can be enabled by effective policy discussions at the earliest possible stages. A number of sessions illustrated diversity in leadership not keeping pace with technology development. In many areas, we have global skill shortages, not least diversifying and attracting women into ITS. But diversity has a broader span: age, education, disability, ethnicity. The challenge is that in many cases, these groups are not available to participate as they are underrepresented across the industry. Sessions showed fresh thinking in a number of areas. Papers and sessions reported application of data technologies, particularly the management of congestion through deeper understanding of queuing and traffic optimization. We had new studies on how to derive value from digital platforms, and many of the early studies in this area focused on the technical challenges with little work on understanding the business models and the revenue opportunities. By contrast, the delivery of new mobility services appeared a little constrained. Mass technologies are very well established, but sessions stress the need for the more broad environment to be effective. The challenges to overcome are both commercial and contractual. Is mass perhaps a future-ready solution awaiting a future-ready culture? Topic 5, the path to Vision Zero. It focused on the question, how can we work towards eliminating traffic fatalities and severe injuries while increasing safe, healthy, equitable mobility? But surprisingly, it was the Congress's smallest topic, with a focus on urban mobility and little consideration of interurban networks or rural. The technical papers presented assessed essentially the same issue: safe urban mobility in a shared use environment. The special interest sessions focused on data, crowdsourced data, how to leverage and analyze the available data or get the right data, access to data and tools, and practical applications for improved decision-making. The increased attention on urban was perhaps a result of the rapid increase of active travel, bicycles, e-scooters, walking, cargo bikes. This has led to a spike in mixed-use urban road traffic collisions, and many urban networks are ill-equipped to handle it. That is a significant blocker to achieving Vision Zero targets. There's no shortage of technologies to support Vision Zero. What appears to be missing in many cases is clear top-down policy leadership. Topic 6 was sustainability and resiliency, and it covered 5 main areas: transport operations, congestion mitigation, modelling impacts and emissions, electrification, cybersecurity. Sessions looked at aspects of improving efficiency, such as ITS for emission reductions and decarbonisation, safety improvements, and signal timing for improving transit performance. However, discussions had very little mention of hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicles. Many panels and papers discussed developments in cybersecurity to improve resilience, with much sharing of best practice. Climate resilience featured prominently, optimizing energy resources, new tools for measuring climate impact from energy use and emissions, supporting cities in meeting their goals and regulations for pollutant reductions. But there was little discussion of external resource resilience and the potential constraints on climate strategies related to world lithium reserves. Sustainability and resiliency strategies differ across urban, suburban, and rural settings. For instance, rural areas have electrification capacity challenges very different from those in urban environments. And similarly, cybersecurity challenges for a little town in Montana will not be those of Los Angeles or the whole state of California. Topic 7, technology from entry to the last mile, covered a great amount of ground, with the key building blocks of communications, data, integration, analytics, and pilot projects. There's been massive investment globally in wireless and wired networks to improve ITS infrastructure and enable data movement from the transport network to the cloud and back to the edge. The future of ITS is integration of data and innovative techniques for sharing, processing, and managing. Because travelers want solutions that are simple, are flexible, and give access to a multiple mobility offer. Mobility on demand and mobility as a service are well familiar to this audience. Demand-responsive transport has the potential to revolutionize public transit, replacing low-performing routes and providing new services where none existed before. Pilot projects reported work in a number of areas: software to collect multimodal travel behavior data, broadening the scope of multimodal services for underserved populations to improve access to jobs, to healthcare, to education, and other needs. Freight solutions continue to develop. Long-haul freight networks are evolving to streamline the movement of goods and improve efficiency. To combat multiple deliveries on the same day and to the same address, but by multiple companies, last-mile delivery by modes such as cargo bikes, e-scooters, or delivery robots will have reduced environmental impact, and these are all being trialed. Emerging topics in this area were curbside management, electrification, new approaches to enforcement, and quantum computing. Los Angeles 2022 showed that ITS is at a good place on the road to seamless mobility that is accessible, equitable, affordable, resilient, has zero fatalities, has zero emissions. In other words, mobility that works for everyone. We've heard how roles have changed. There's much more collaborative planning. So instead of suppliers telling users our system does this, you should go and buy it, the focus now is much more on tell me what you want to achieve, and we'll sit down and work together to design and deploy something that delivers it. We've achieved a lot in the last year, but we've not finished, and some difficult problems remain. Almost none are technology. They're all about behavior, willingness to work together, and be flexible. A few years back, a famous American used the phrase, "yes, we can." In the case of ITS, yes, we can provide mobility that is accessible, equitable, affordable, resilient, safe, clean. The technologies are ready. We can deliver any of those individually. The difficult bit is hitting 2 or more of the targets at the same time. It needs even more collaborative working by the public and private sectors. In the opening, Joost van Tomme gave a key word for the way forward: de-siloification. Come and see me afterwards and I'll explain it. If we had the political drive, if we had societal acceptance of the price, the social consequences of deciding to reach the key goals quickly, then yes, we could achieve 0 fatalities. Yes, we could achieve 0 emissions. The barriers aren't technological. The message to politicians and to all stakeholders is that you need to change. Your last year policies don't solve next year's problems. We can deliver transformation by transportation, but you need to transform your thinking as well to make it happen. If you do what you've always done, you get what you've always got. I hope to see many of you next year in Lisbon and in Suzhou. Thank you.
Please welcome Mr. Josh Johnson, Southwest Research Institute.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's been great to get back together after being apart for 2.5 years, and I count it a blessing that many of you aren't not just professional associates, but you're also friends. I hope that you feel energized to build a better future of transportation from the things that you've learned, the new technologies that you've seen, and the new connections that you've been able to make at this event. But I think to build a better future, it's not just about these technology advancements and these network connections that we've made. I also want us to reflect back a little bit on the past, not just the future. And I want you to reflect on your own individual past for a moment. I want you to think about a time when you were in school, or maybe starting your first job, or took on your first leadership role, or managing maybe your first ITS project. And think about someone that mentored or helped you through that critical time and that helped to make you successful. Personally, I'll share my story real briefly. My challenge came when I decided I wanted to pursue a career in computer science. And I transferred from a local, smaller university into a specialized engineering school that I learned very quickly was much more challenging than the local university I'd started at. And the class where I really met my crux was discrete mathematics. And I had a friend that was a few years ahead of me in school. And when I was struggling through the homework assignments and spending late hours into the night and not making as much progress as I needed to, he had the patience to sit down with me, not just to do the homework, but to teach me how to be a better programmer. And I can't help to think that my professional opportunities I've had and where I am today is in a very different place because of the investment. And that name is John Richards. And I want you to think of maybe what that name is for you in your past and that person that helped you through that critical time and that period of growth in your life to help you overcome the challenges that you have. So as we think about building a better future, we learn to apply all the advancements from this conference, but maybe the most impactful thing we can do is actually invest in the new students and new professional staff that come into our industry, into our workplaces that we get to work alongside with. So, and this is the spirit of the student essay competition that we have the privilege to sponsor each year. And I want it to be a reminder, an encouragement to you, and maybe 20 or 30 years from now, someone that's a professional will look back and they'll name you. So with that, I'd like to announce this year's winner. The winner is a team of 2 students from the University of Pennsylvania, Shotao Sun and George Xiao with their video titled Drive Right Simulator for Safe Autonomous Driving. Accepting the award today is George. Come on up, George. I also have the pleasure to announce the best session of this year's ITS World Congress. The session was determined based upon the attendance in the room. The session had 286 people in attendance. I had the pleasure of attending the session, a lot of thought-provoking discussion, and there were nearly 75 people through the course of the session that were standing up to attend to be there. So this year's session the winner is SIS 36, entitled The Future of ITS Data Exchange with Public, Private, and Automotive Sector Involvement. The speakers were Gopi Cernilla from Ford, Michael Brown from Southwest Research Institute, Natalie Betger from the North Central Texas Council of Government, Randy Iwasaki from Amazon, and Raj Panali from the Florida Department of Transportation. And moderating the session and accepting this year's award for the best session is Steve Dellenbach.
No, this is not an acceptance speech. Moving on to the next section of the program, this is the time that the International Program Committee wishes to recognize the best papers as submitted to the conference. If you're not familiar with the International Program Committee, it's a group of volunteers. Each of the 3 regions provides a set. It's somewhere between 40 and 50, 40 and 60 people. And this group of volunteers puts together for the World Congress here in LA over 140 sessions. That includes the international forums, the regional forums, the strategic technology sections, the technical sessions, and the SIS sessions. It's a highly collaborative effort. There's a lot of give and take between the regions as we try to come up with a balanced program that covers all the different topics that each of the regions is interested in. So joining me on the podium today will be Lisa Bach-Anderson. She's the Director of Communications, Conferences and Events from Urtico, and Dr. Ken Chin, who is an advisor for ITS Singapore. So if they'll come up and help me with the awards, I would appreciate it. The hope is that the authors are here. They were supposed to be showing up. So once you hear your name, if you would start up, I'll start off by reading the paper and the author, and then give a short description as they walk up. First paper from EMA, it's the best scientific paper. It's entitled Impact Speed Reduction Induced by Pre-Crash Braking for Motorcycles, a Parametric Evaluation Based on Real Accidents. Claire Naud, who's a research engineer at the University Gustave Eiffel in France, is the author, so please come up to accept your award from Lisa. The music was far better than my summary of the paper. So. The other paper from the EMA region is the best technical paper, and it's entitled Regulatory Framework for Automated Driving, Challenges and Approach. Carlos Lujan, if he's here, if he could please make his way up here. He's a senior manager of homologation, commercial vehicles, automated driving, and vehicle dynamics, and he's from Spain. Carlos, congratulations. Now switching regions to Asia Pacific, and Dr. Chen will present the awards for these. The best scientific paper was entitled Value of Cross-Box Data at the Intersection on Deep Reinforcement Learning-Based Traffic Signal. The author was Nima Nasser, senior lecturer from the University of Melbourne from Australia. If he could come up, please, and accept his award. And now for the best technical paper from the Asia Pacific region, titled is Noisy Trajectory Suppression Method for Traffic Flow Monitoring Using Distributed Fiber Optic Sensing. The author was Hemant Prasad. He's a researcher at NEC Corporation from Japan. If he could please come up, Dr. Chen, to present his award. And lastly, from the Americas region, the best scientific paper is entitled Mining Movement Patterns for Distracted Driving Detection. Seihan Yukar is the author. He's a principal researcher from Infotech Labs at Toyota Motor Corporation from the US. Please come up. The last paper we have to present, best technical paper from the America regions, is entitled Curbside Technology Performance Assessment, a case study of video-based curbside monitoring. Authors Joey Yang, Director of Transportation Technology, ITS, from HDR Incorporated. Joey, if you could come up.
Joey, right here.
Please welcome Mr. Fei Chen, Deputy Director of Suzhou Transportation Bureau.
Hello, everyone. I would like to thank LA ITS World Congress 2022 for giving this valuable opportunity to speak for Suzhou. Also, I would like to express my warm congratulations on the success of this Congress. As a representative of Suzhou, Suzhou is a river city with a history of more than 25 years besides Shanghai. It is also a city full of energy and creative passions. In addition, there are opportunities and full of futuristic technologies in this city. The 29th ITS World Congress will start in October 2023 in Suzhou. We will put our efforts to represent an amazing Congress. Anyway, we sincerely invite all guests, experts, and industrial elites to participate in our Suzhou ITS World Congress and promote the development of global intelligent transportation together. We also love to have global enterprise and innovative progress to join our Congress. Let's create a better future of win-win cooperation together. Finally, I wish all of you have health and a wonderful future. Maybe someone will was visit Suzhou, maybe not, but I will see you all in Suzhou. Thank you.
Please welcome Mr. Mohammed Al-Mudareb, CEO, Roads and Transport Authority, RTA.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, the current edition of the ITS World Congress has succeeded in showcasing the latest trends of the industry. Each successful round strengthens the profile of the Congress as a global platform that brings together leaders, specialist decision makers of the industry, as well as the academia and investors from all over the world. Participants get the chance to exchange experience and knowledge and enhance their networking. On this occasion, may I have the pleasure to invite you all to Dubai ITS World Congress that will be held from the 16th to 20th of September in 2024 with a theme of mobility driven by ITS. The Congress promises to be the biggest edition in the history of the event in terms of number of attendees, participants, and companies. Dubai Congress features more than 20,000 participants, 500 exhibitors from 100 countries, 700 sessions that includes 15 technical visits. It will also witness the participation of the largest contingent ever from the MENA region, given the strategic location of Dubai as the gateway to the East and the West. Moreover, the event will be held at the Dubai World Trade Center and span an area of 20,000 square meters. The venue will also host other relevant events, such as the Dubai World Congress and Challenge for Self-Driving Transport, UITP MENA Congress, and the Dubai International Project Management Forum. Distinguished attendees, the keenness of Dubai to host this prominent event fits with the ambitions and vision of the city, aimed to convert 25% of mobility journeys to driverless transit means by 2030. This is perfectly aligned with the highlights of Dubai ITS World Congress, such as self-driving transport, big data, and artificial intelligence. More importantly, Dubai, as global destination for tourism and business, has competitive edge thanks to its prime location in flourishing economic zone in the MENA region, where similar mega cities are planning to invest billions of dollars in the public transport infrastructure over the next few years. Thank you very much, and I will leave you now with a short video of what Dubai has to offer. Thank you.
Driven by a keen insight into the future, motivated by ambitious goals and a strong will to succeed, fueled by resolution and led by exemplary visionaries. Our long list of achievements spans over 15 years, undertaken with determination and hard work. A new vision encompassing the goal to become the world leader in seamless and sustainable mobility. A vision which strongly contributes to shaping Dubai's image in people's minds as one of the most developed and growing cities in the world. A city with a clear set of priorities, advancing a strong infrastructure for a modern road and transportation network, and creating traffic and mobility solutions to enhance its competitiveness and achieve its future vision. We proceed, confident in the future, through pioneering projects and a vision based on proactive thinking for a better tomorrow.
Please welcome President and CEO of ITS America, Ms. Laura Chase.
Well, we are very excited to announce the next North American World Congress. The 2025 ITS World Congress will be held in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta and the surrounding area, and for that matter, the whole state, are on the leading edge of not just ITS technologies, but also really thinking about mobility and how people get around. Atlanta was also a car-centric city that has expanded transportation options to be more accessible. The city of Peachtree Corners is a very interesting living laboratory right outside Atlanta for startups and established companies to deploy connected and automated technologies in a real-world testing environment with no roadblocks. Georgia DOT has been a leading proponent of connected vehicle technologies, and we are sure in the few years that intervene, we'll be talking about even more deployments to see in Georgia and within the Atlanta area. And Atlanta is just a great fun city. Great food, great sports teams, great parks and spaces, the world of Coca-Cola, and more streets with the name Peach or Peachtree that you can count. So we look forward to welcoming all of you to Atlanta, Georgia in 2025.
our ceremonial passing of the globe.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for joining us today.